Good morning, Mara.
Hi, Larry. How are you?
I am extremely good today.
Oh, tell me.
Accepted offer on a $1.85 million deal.
Nice.
Actually, I got to run out of here early today to go meet with these folks.
Sounds like a good one.
I hope so. Fingers are crossed. It's never done till a check clears the bank.
Yeah, right. Lots to go. Can you tell me a little bit about your experience in Mexico?
Sure. Just briefly, from 2004 to 2011, I was selling down there. I was living and selling down there.
Hmm.
Friends of mine owned a place in Choya Bay outside of Rocky Point. They took me down there to see it. One thing led to another. Next thing you know, I'm sitting doing part-time office work, trying to sell a lot or two in the first year I was there. And then in 2005, the whole run-up started
Hmm.
in property values. And a big investment opportunity for people was condos down there on the beach. Well, along with that, the developer, Sandy Beach Resorts out in Choya Bay, was now selling land as opposed to leasing it, and it turned into the other hotspot. So it just went nuts. We sold 600 lots in a year and a half.
Wow.
So that turned into all that. Then we turned into a true real estate company, and then it was selling everything from condos on the beach to stuff in Choya Bay to houses out in Las Conchas. I did a $1.2 million deal out there, and then the U.S. housing market crashed, and everything came to a screeching halt. So after staying down there for 2 years in the house I had built, had to bail out and come back to the States because there was no money. I literally went broke.
Hmm.
So that's how I ended up back in the States. But now, current day, the Keller Williams office is open down there. There's business down there. It's not booming, but there's business.
Okay. Interesting. Just asking Larry about his experience in Mexico, guys.
And had the housing market not crashed, Mara, I'd still be living there. That's how much I enjoyed it.
Right.
Dan, I'm in for about 10 minutes, then I got to bail to meet my clients on the deal that I got yesterday.
He has to tell you.
Oh, he probably
1.89
he probably
million.
saw it on Facebook.
Oh, come on. One of the agents that I talk to all the time does a nearly $2 million deal. You don't think I hear about it when it goes down? Larry told me about it in the office the other day.
We can all celebrate.
That's exciting, man. That's huge. Good stuff, man. I'm excited for you. That's going to be a great deal.
Yeah,
Fun deal.
It's been so smooth so far. It's like, when's the other shoe going to drop,
Mm-hmm.
Am I allowed to ask, like, just out of curiosity, what is commission look like on something like that? I mean, does it say?
30% of the sales price.
Yeah. Okay.
Roughly.
Take 3% times 1.85 million.
Okay. Okay. Well,
$56,700 some dollars.
I didn't know if there was a discount for being a higher price. Nope. Nope.
No, Sarah, the math works out to 55,000.
Good, sir. You have congratulations. That is awesome. Very epic. Excited for you.
It's never done until the check clears the bank.
Exactly. I know exactly. But you know what? To even have that on your plate at the moment as an option, that's amazing in and of itself. So
here's the kicker. It was a walk-in. The clients walked in the front door of the KW office on Kolb and said, our agent in Kansas City said, find a Keller Williams office. I happened to be standing at the front door at that time.
Oh my God. It is divine. Oh,
it pays to show up at the market center, even if you're just working by yourself at the table. Last year, 2 years ago now, I did 6 listings because of walk-ins. And I was the only agent that happened to be working it here at 5 o'clock at night when someone walked in and said, hey, we need some help. And then they're like, hey, Dan, can you help a client? Yeah. Yes, I can. And then some phone calls. Business comes from everywhere, and you don't know if it's a $180,000 house or a $1.8 million mansion. The beautiful thing is if you're in the right place, doing the right things, the right stuff will happen. I had a mentor, loosely call him that. It's an old GM of mine, but I like the way he said this. He goes, the harder I work, the luckier I get. It's weird. The harder I work, the luckier I get.
The weird thing is that I did the, I am guilty of doing the judge a book by its cover when they walked in. Very short description. The husband had the mask up to his eyes and had a baseball cap on. He stood about 5'5", a little bit chunky, had a t-shirt that was halfway to his knees. And the wife wasn't dressed very much better than that. And I first looked at him and went, oh, that's about 180,000. And but I, did the spiel. Hi, welcome in, sit down. Let's talk a little bit. Where are you from? What are you looking for? Da, 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 da. We ended up in front of the MLS on the computer. And they're like, well, let's take a look at something that's around 3,000 square feet up in Oro Valley. And that's where we started. And we got into the list of prices on the side. And I got to about $500,000. And I'm like, we're getting to about $500,000. Oh, that's okay. And then we went down a little further. We're getting to $1 million. Oh, that's okay. And we got into $1.5 million. Oh, that's okay. Got to 2 million. Oh, that's okay. Let's put that one in. Let's go see that one. And finally got to the point where it's like, are you folks, on the financial? Oh, we're cash buyers. They said they wanted to be somewhere where it's warm in the winter. They ended up here. Turns out their business has 2 offices here and all over the country. And but they're here in their RV. They're over at the Lazy Days RV Park on South Country Club, and they are buying a $2 million house. Cash.
My grandfather came from pennies, literally. Growing up, his father came over on a boat from Germany, blah, blah, blah. And I will never, that man could afford rolls. He could afford anything. And he still wore Velcro shoes that had 2 Velcro straps. I think at the time they were $10. And that's the reason why he wore them, is because they were only $10 and they were comfortable. So it's just, you're right. It's probably a huge learning lesson right there for you to, big slap in the face, like never judge a book by its cover, because you never know.
Yeah, I'll echo a story on that. This is back in the car world days. I was sitting in the dealership in Englewood, Colorado. It's in the suburbs, nothing special. About 6 o'clock at night, a gentleman walks in, bib overalls covered in snow and mud. Drove in an old international truck. Just walks in, walks past 4 salespeople. I'm probably been on the floor 3 months at this point. Brand new, we still call wet behind the ears. And I get up, greet him, run the spiel like nothing. Like, don't care who he is, what he's doing. Walk in, he's like, young man, it's so nice to have a salesperson that actually knows about people. Could you show me some trucks? And I did. He was looking for a couple of, he was looking at a couple of dualies. He just said, I'm looking at a couple of dualies. Can you show them to me? He bought 5 of them. And I was with him for about 4 hours because we showed him trucks. We drove all 5. Actually, we drove 7 total. We drove 2 cabin chassis. And in total, the man spent just shy of $1 million in the dealership in one day. Wrote a check out of his farm account. The guy owned a huge farm in Elizabeth. And he said, hey, my guys will come pick them up later on in the week. Can you put them in the back and store them? Of the 5 guys that came to pick up trucks, 4 of them bought trucks from me on top of those trucks. And this guy didn't look like he had 2 nickels to rub together. I later on saw him and found out that he is a large stakeholder in the Broncos Stadium. The man was worth just shy of $300 million. Had worked his entire life to get there, but became one of the best referral sources. And even now I'm still working him to get some real estate deals out of Colorado because, well, friends are friends no matter what industry they're from. But if we handle the process the same every time, and that's even says it in our bylaws as a real estate agent, as a licensee, what you do for one, you do for all. Consistency across all lines. What you do for one, you do for all. That's not just to keep you out of legal hot water. That's consistency, but that's also showing that you are willing to do the same for $1 million client or $100 client. And that is professionalism. That is, and we talked about this yesterday on the PC call, that is your standard of excellence. Raise your standard of excellence and you will raise your income. Danny Roth tells a story about a deal he did, a $60,000 mobile home, manufactured home. Danny Roth, millionaire himself. $60,000 mobile home, and was super excited to do so, and has sold $6 million of real estate since then from that same family. All off of one transaction. So that's where we can kind of, take today's calls. The mindset behind our referrals and repeat business is get the mindset behind, I'm not here to sell one house. I'm here to sell them all. I don't want you to ever have to need to call another real estate agent. Repeat and referral business is fantastic. I want you guys to get some of it. So it is Friday. Awesome, Larry. Thank you for starting us off on that path. I think that it's a great reminder of what we need to do and why we need to do it. So,
And I have to bail. So
and you got to bail, man. Thank you.
Thanks,
Go
everybody.
get it,
Have a
man.
great weekend.
I want to see all the Facebook Lives tours of that house too. So
Oh yeah, we're over there for inspections tomorrow. I'll shoot some footage.
just show us the cool stuff.
The whole freaking house is cool stuff. Everything.
There we go. Show us the whole house.
It's insane. Just look it up on the MLS. 4680 West Long Ridge. 4680 West Long Ridge. It's up in Dove Mountain, up in Canyon Pass. Have a great day, everybody.
Awesome.
And
Larry.
thank you for the props. Like I said, the deal isn't done till a check clears the bank, but so far this has been a good one. Fingers are crossed. Have a great day, everybody.
All right. I've had a lot of people texting me and calling me lately where they have sellers that are interested in selling, and the sales price that they're putting out there are astronomical. I just did one this morning where client says, hey, I want to sell my house for 280. Market shows a value of around 200. How are you going to handle that situation? Mara?
Well, I understand wanting to get the most out of your house, but all the comps are showing us around 200. So can you tell me, where you got this price of 280?
What's a comp?
All right, the comparable homes in the area that I've shown you, all the ones with the similar square footage in your area that have sold in the last 90 days, and that the high is around 200. So unfortunately, most buyers are going to see those same prices. I know I'm supposed to ask, what's important to you about getting 280? But I want to explain why that's okay. I would go into, we need to price it competitively so that we get a lot of people looking at your house and they will actually bid the price up. But if we're too high, they won't feel like your house compares to those in the higher price range. So we do want to price it so that people who can really afford to buy it will see it, right?
Right.
Something like that. Anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a feeding frenzy.
A feeding frenzy. Well, I've got an addition in the backyard that makes my house even bigger, and it's on a primo lot.
Okay.
Lot.
It's the same what?
It's the same lot as everything else.
Okay. Well, I can again appreciate that your house is really nice and you do have a lot of good updates. So again, it probably will come in a little bit higher. And another reminder is, of course, it does have to appraise unless we were to have a cash buyer, and an appraisal isn't important. And was that addition permitted? Because I'm not seeing that additional square footage on the assessor site.
It wasn't.
Okay. Well, there are some steps you can take to try to get it permitted, but I know you want to get on the market right away. So just when you have an addition like that, sometimes the value is not quite the same as the rest of the house. So again, we need to sort of take that into consideration. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay. So
it's a tough one when you got somebody who says, well, I think my house is worth, and you're $100,000 off.
Right.
Right? It's a difficult situation to overcome. And asking questions like that is, okay, where did you get that value from? What research have you been able to do that told you your house is worth 280? What's different about your home than the other houses in the market and other houses in the area? If we can help them identify, well, there's not a whole lot different. Well, it's on a prime lot. Okay, it's on the same size lot as 90% of the houses that have sold in the area, if not smaller. Well, it's got great views. Okay, People do pay for some views. I don't know if they pay $100,000 for them, but they do pay for views. What else? Tell me more. And again, right? Tell me more. What else? Please explain. Tell me more. What's important? Like, these are all things, get to the root of things. And I will challenge you guys that don't chase a paycheck. If somebody is unrealistic and they're not willing to price their house where it's actually going to sell for, having your sign in the ground for a year does nobody any good.
That's what I was going to say, because doesn't it put the stigma of, you know, what's wrong with this house if it's been on the market too long?
We had a listing in Sahuarita that was on the market for 209 days. The house next door sold in 3 days for the same we sold his house for, but he wouldn't come down on his price. He was just being unrealistic. Our only saving grace is the fact that the market tipped up at the end of the year and somebody bought his house. He's like, I told you if we hold out, we would just be right. I was like, John, you're an idiot. How many payments did you make?
Yeah.
That if you would have just priced your house right the first time, like I told you, you would have had it sold, had the money, not had to make extra $15,000 in payments.
I know we've used the line something like, I'd rather be honest with you now than disappoint you later, because some people might promise you this higher price, but this is what's going to get your house sold.
Yeah, I have built my business on telling people the truth and being honest to them up front. I don't plan on changing that now. Would you rather me be honest to you now or disappoint you later? And I have yet to have someone tell me, well, disappoint me later. It's the truth be told, that's where it's at. So yeah, be honest with me now. And I'll list your house where you want to list at. Now, what's the next question?
How are you going to feel if it's on the market too long?
Okay, there's a good one. How are you going to feel when it's on the market too long?
In this market, what if you don't sell the house in 2 weeks?
Right. What happens if you don't get an offer in 2 weeks?
What do you then do?
Go ahead, Jake. Go ahead, Jacob.
What do you then do when the house doesn't appraise?
Right. What are you going to do when the house doesn't appraise? This goes back in the conversation we had yesterday on our PC call, setting expectations. If we don't set the correct expectations, you are always going to have a hard time negotiating through the deal. Even though they're your client, doesn't mean they're going to do what you tell them to. Unless they know that you're looking after their best financial decisions and you have laid out those expectations so that down the road, they already know what the fork in the road looks like. They're already looking for it. We hope we don't have to take it, but then unfortunately, sometimes we do. So, right. I completely understand you think your house is worth $280,000 based on the information that I was able to pull from the homes that have sold in your area that are similar to yours. Key point, the homes that have sold in the area similar to yours, the value puts it right around $195,000, $205,000. What makes your house different that we can garner that extra $80,000? Well, I've got the addition in the back. Okay, great. Is it permitted? No. Well, unpermitted additions often don't bring much value. They may cause you some problems because some lenders won't loan on them. Oh, well, I got a prime lot. Okay, what makes your lot different than the one next door? I've got a beautiful view of a golden cactus. Okay, great. People do pay for views. I don't know if they pay $100,000. They do pay a little bit. What else? Okay. Okay, great. Tell me more, right? Keep going down the track. Well, Mr. or Mrs. Seller, please enlighten me on what your plans will be if the house doesn't get an offer in the first 2 weeks. Because right now in the marketplace, we're seeing things that are priced appropriately, selling as fast as the day they go on the market. But getting an offer is just the first thing. We still have to get through the inspections, all the negotiation through the appraisal. What happens when it doesn't appraise? Okay. How are you going to feel when you get through this entire process and then all of a sudden the bank's not going to loan on the house and the buyer backs out? You're 45 days into this process. You've paid another mortgage payment or two. What then? right? And ultimately, what's making you want to sell the house? Adriana, you got something? I saw you on mute.
Because it is a great market, and since there is not inventory, so I truly believe I can get that money.
Okay. What information have you pulled that makes you think you can get that much?
I have done a lot of things to my house that the rest of the neighborhood they do not have. It has
Okay.
a clean, new floor, and the addition in the backyard.
Is the addition permitted?
No, sir.
Okay.
But I can
Oftentimes.
get it permitted. I can get it permitted.
Okay,
That's what
let's
he
get it
said.
permitted. Let's start there because that'll change our legal square footage and that might help us out a little bit. How long is it going to take you to do that?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, we want to get it done quickly so that we can capitalize on our deal. Now, the other upgrades to the house, those are great. Sometimes when people remodel a home, they over improve it to the market. The values of a home are based on the other properties around it that have sold that are similar to it because they can justify the value. Unfortunately, if you have a bar of gold and it's surrounded by blocks of mud, it'll bring down the value of the bar of gold.
I like that one.
The neighborhood is important. So if you guys didn't catch on, this is Adriana's client. And I'm glad she's on here to work through this because this is going to be an important thing for her to learn. I have faith in you, girlfriend. I know you can do it. But sometimes you got people that have done a ton of work.
You asked what was the motivation to sell. His motivation to sell is because this is a rental for him, and well, the market is good, so he rather get 100,000, or he paid 93 for the house. So his aspiration is to sell it to 80, but if it's worth only 200, so his aspiration is to get a lot of equity to buy a retirement home for him and his wife and sell the house at some point where they are living now.
Perfect.
Downside.
Right now is the perfect time to unload your rental where you can make more money now in selling it and cash out on the equity and put down towards that next home so you can still capitalize on the good interest rates. When do you want to get your house that you're in now on the market so we can do the same thing for it as well?
And also, can't we tell them that the market is going to tell us how much your home is actually worth? So, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, as you can see, the home down the street actually sold for 200,000. Put your eyes in the eyes of the buyer. How would you, if you were the buyer and you're going to come out looking for a home and there's a home down the street that's priced correctly at 200,000, and they're going to look at that house and then your house is up at 280, which one do you think the buyer is going to choose? I mean, the market's going to tell you, right?
Yeah. That's one of my favorite lines to use when we got somebody that needs a price reduction, also known as a market adjustment. Cindy, I completely understand that we wanted to sell our house for the most amount of money. Clearly, in the first 2 weeks, the market has rejected our sales price. Would you like to make a minor or major market adjustment to get us in line?
We'll start with minor.
Okay. So what do you want our new sales price to be?
How about we shoot for 250 then instead of 280?
There we go. Did I define what minor or major were?
Nope.
Is a $30,000 price adjustment a minor price adjustment? But I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'll take
Depending
it.
on the neighborhood.
Yeah, depending on the neighborhood, you're right. But from 280 to 250, no matter what neighborhood you're in, that's a big price to change.
So also, would you rather price it correctly now and get an offer now, or would you rather price it higher and then possibly have it sit on the market for the next 6 months?
And continue to pay a mortgage you don't want to pay. Like, I think that's a huge sticking point. I don't think people realize, like, the longer you sit there, the more money you're spending. Like, you're literally spending money, so you're going to make less money. So I think it's a huge sticking point.
Yeah, even if it's paid off, use the term maintenance and upkeep.
I believe the house is paid off. Yeah, and he mentioned it. I'm 100% sure he bought it in 2003. And I believe, yeah, I'm 100% sure the house is paid off. He mentioned that. And he, then his aspiration is to sell it with the renters that he has inside the house as well.
He wants to sell with the renters or to the renters?
No, with the renters. So
okay, well, I'm not going to tell you that this deal just got more difficult. But if the renters are staying, the deal just got more difficult.
Okay.
When is their lease up?
It was up in February. He renewed it, but he said he can ask them, because I told him first time buyers will be not interested. So he said, oh, I can cancel the lease at any time. I can give them 30 or 60-day notice and they can leave the house. I asked him, why don't you start that process right now?
Yeah,
Then we can get it.
If he's going to sell it and he wants to make the most money, the renters can't be in there.
Okay.
Especially if he's trying to get 280, because now someone can't turn a profit on the rent.
Got
Adrian,
it.
I speak from expertise because I sold a house less than 40 yards away from this one. I got 14 offers and the highest offer at 207. And the house fully remodeled. Everything that you're talking about. The only thing it didn't have that addition on the back. But the big difference there is, the $100,000 difference in price is a big swing. Not saying you can't get it, just saying it's going to be a little difficult. There is somebody out there that will buy this house for $280,000, and I believe they're our president.
I will be having those difficult conversations this morning then.
I love having difficult conversations because it makes better relationships with your clients. Like Mara said, I'd rather be honest with you now than disappoint you later. Most people, most hobbyists, real estate agents that aren't taking this seriously, will say whatever they need to say to get the contract signed. The longevity of your career is predicated on your ability to have tough conversations. Are you willing to say the things you need to say to the people you need to say them to in a manner that is purposeful? Yes or no? Scripting is important because it helps us have difficult conversations with proven technologies and word tracks that give us the ability to convey a higher level of agreement. And right now I wanted to focus on that because I'm seeing more of it. Even in my own listings, I got people that are out of town wanting to sell stuff like, hey, I think the words were, I was like, hey, the market value on this house is about $305,000 based on your guys' upgrades in the backyard. It's different than everywhere else. Where would you like to price it? Well, we're thinking like 320 because our friend across Hartman sold their house for 315. I was like, okay, is their house larger than yours? No, it's 350 square feet smaller. So I did some research. No such house exists. And I told him, I was like, okay, if you price it at 320, what happens when you don't get an offer? Or what happens when it doesn't appraise? I got them thinking. They're like, well, good, well, this is that. I was okay. I'll list it at 320. But if we don't have an offer in the first 2 weeks, what's our new price going to be? Like, we have a game plan. We're not waiting a month. We're not waiting long. I tried to get a 7-day reduction in place on the contract. After 7 days, if we don't have an offer, it drops down $10,000. After another 7 days, drops down another $10,000. And boom, we're right at the sales price I told them to be at the first place. People are getting seller's greed. They're seeing the market. Oh, it's a hot market. My neighbor sold their house for $500,000. My house is so much nicer than theirs. Okay, what neighbor? In what neighborhood? Oh, the guy that's over there, like 2 miles away, sold his house for $500,000. I think my house is worth that. Sir, your house has wheels on it. His house has an infinity pool. Tell me the difference. Sarah's laughing, but the truth is people are that dumb sometimes. Zillow tells you what your house is worth based on a zip code. Do you know that? 85704, one of the most premier zip codes in the Northwest. Did you know it has mansions and mobile homes? Kind of a skewed set of results, right? 85741, the neighborhood I live in. There's houses built in the 1950s and 2020. You think that's going to skew the results a little bit? It's important to get the valuations on the neighborhood you're selling. Because could the value be different across the street? Literally across the street.
Did we already talk about really quickly? Did everyone else read that the Zillow estimate is going to be their cash offer now?
Cash offer.
Should be getting more accurate, because if they're not, they're going to lose a lot of money if their estimates don't get more accurate.
Now, use rubbing alcohol. Hand sanitizer. Sorry, they're trying to clean off the dry erase check, and it's been sitting on there forever. So, now that they're a brokerage with IDX access, meaning actual feed information on what's being sold, they're able to pull that information in large volumes, run it through their aggregator, and get a more defined information set. But it's going to take some time for the public to catch up to that.
But they should also be low, because they're lowballing people
Yeah.
so that they can make a profit. So
They're
it
absolutely
could
going to
really be a switch in people's mind. The estimate has been high a lot of times, and now it should be low, because like I said, my clients just a week ago were like, oh yeah, we might go with them. Well, I'm like, okay, it's like 30,000 less than we can get on market, even though they're telling you it's market. And that was just, I hope anybody can use that example, because it's a real example.
Real life thing, guys. Yeah, Sunshine, they tried the dry erase. They were trying the dry erase over dry erase too. And it was taking them forever. So that's when I yelled at them to use the hand sanitizer, because it breaks down amino split. Anyways, guys, it is Friday at 8:31. I'm going to do a little plug for myself at 9:30 our time on Connect Live. If you go to KW Connect, it's that live feed they got going on. Yours truly will be on there hosting one of the shows. So pretty cool stuff. Any questions before we go? I'll see you guys on the 8:45 question and answer call if you do. Was this helpful, Miss Adriana?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome, friend. Keep getting those leads. Oh, I didn't say. Good morning, everyone. Have a great Friday.